All right, good evening. How's everybody doing? This is Rother over at New Era Gardener. And I know you're wondering, what is this that I'm looking at right now? Well, this is one of my bins. I just made it out of some insulation styrofoam. And these are some baby worms. And what we're going to look at, and hopefully you can see it. I might bring you in a little bit closer. But this is a bin that I had, and I actually cleaned out a couple of bins and got quite a bit of baby worms and cocoons. So I actually put them in here, and it seems to be full of a lot of mites. When you're cleaning out your bin, you know, separating them from the worms, I mixed everything together. So this one seems to have a lot of mites in it. I'm going to try to bring it in just a little bit closer. And let's hope I can pick them up. Let me just grab a glove. So I'm going to put one glove on so that you could possibly see it when I pick them up. So I got a little warm water here. And this is how I've been cleaning out my bins that actually have mites in it. I saved all my pumpkin skin. I peeled some of the skin off of them, and I actually used this. I don't know if that picks up on the screen up against my hand, but you can see, hopefully, that's full of mites. Full of mites. And they're on the glove. So all I'm going to do is knock off any of the dirt, and I'm going to put it in my warm water. And I'm just going to go through and pick them up. Look at how those mites are all on that. So they love the pumpkin. It's like another sweet treat for them. Look at that. So this is how I clean out my bins that might have some mites in it. Usually what I take and do, look at them, is I don't even put them in water. I usually just put them in a container and I bring them upstairs. Look at that. I don't know if the camera's picking all this up, but there's a lot of mites on there. Look at that, mites. And in warm water, they're gonna come off in the water. So then what I usually do is I take my trusty spoon, and I don't know if you can see that, there is a ton of them right there. So all I do is try to dig them out. Try not to get any worms. And I got a worm there, and they're all on top of there. Another worm. And I just try to get enough under it where I could pick up the cluster. Got another worm in here, so give me a second. I just want to try to clean off some of the mites. And this is what I do. Look at those mites on there. Is it a lot of fun having to clean them up this way? Nah, not really. But I'm for my castings. So that's what I wind up doing. And you can do it any way you want. I've tried using the Damascus herb. I've used neem oil. That never seemed to work. But I just happened to notice with one of the bins I had before that it was full of mites. So, had a lot of mites on top, and they were sticking to the pumpkin. So I said, you know what? I'll actually use the pumpkin to get rid of the mites. And I took skin from a orange. Well, actually, the orange itself, it was no good. Cut it in half, and I actually used that. Now, I don't know if you can see, this is new worm bin. It's all baby worms. So, the original bin probably started around 10:24, 10:30, and I let it go till the beginning of the year so all the cocoons could hatch out and actually get nice and mature. And then I cleaned it out. Well, actually, I didn't even clean it out. I just took everything and dumped it in, put new bedding, and actually just dumped it in and added those worms that were in that stuff. So that bedding had a lot of mites in it. So that's one way to clean it out, and that works real well for me. And that's the way I do it now. So I use pumpkin. I use any type of skins. I'll be honest with you, any kind of skin that is starting to turn, the mites seem to like. But the pumpkin, they really seem to love. So I got them in here, and if you could see all the mites on top, you can see them all at the bottom. I mean, there's tons of them in there. And I'll take my sprayer, pump it up real good, and that's what happens. There's still mites on there, but not as many. And I'll use my sprayer, and I'll spray it real hard, and I'll clean this off and get as much of the mites off as that I can. And that's what happens. So if you have mites, there's no sense of complaining about them. It's normal. You are going to have them, depending on the bedding that you are using. Some of my bins have some mites in it. Some bins don't have any mites in it. Or I would say not as many mites in it. This one seems to be a little fuller with mites. Like I said, when I take the overs and I reuse them to start the bin for the cocoons for my hatchery, that had a lot in there. So now I'm having to deal with it, and I'll deal with it. And these are going to be in here for probably about 3 months. So I'll keep giving them the pumpkin or any other skins I have and continue to pull them out. I did that to another bin that I had. I was about to harvest it, and as I saw, there was a ton of mites in it. So I said, you know what? Let me try to clean this out. I actually put the skins in there, did it for about 2 weeks, and the amount of mites that were, in there from the time that I started, was really nothing. Nothing that should bother you. It's natural. You are going to have some mites in there. You're going to have some little white worms. I believe those are pot worms. Those are more annoying to me than anything. So that's what I do. That's what I did. I just fed this bin. I'll let the worms eat what they have for a day or two, and then if there's any food left, I'll actually mix it up and get it down and around in there so the other worms can do it. So that's a way I deal with my mite problem. So whatever works for you, try it. If you want to try this, it works. It does a good job for me, and that's the way I take care of the mites. Appreciate you guys watching. This is New Era Gardener. I appreciate you. Thank you.